Donald, the New Zealand response to a down milk price year. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Jack, for the introduction. Can honestly say I've never been called a hooker before, but I guess there's a first for everything. Quite a bit of my bit here I've got here is going to re-emphasise the points that Michael has made. So really, what did we really see? What have we seen to date? I'm going to comment on a few of our personal views and what we've really seen in our area and around our province. In my experience, have there been many system changes, total system changes? And at the moment, the answer is no. I haven't really seen or noticed any total system changes. Remember, a lot of people have invested a huge amount of money lately, in the last 2 or 3 years anyway, in new infrastructure. So it's really hard for them to try and walk away from that or even admit that they've now got it wrong. So that's a lot of investment, a lot of pride, a lot of infrastructure sitting there. However, they are doing a bit of tweaking, as Mike mentioned. But however, is that making a great deal of difference? Not a lot, but it's going to drop production partially. There has been a huge number of cows culled this spring. We had quite a wet winter and spring. It was quite hard and beef prices were high and cash flows were low. So we had an extra 240,000 cows were culled this spring. So that's going to have an effect on production as well with people tinkering and cutting back a few feed costs. From our personal point of view, what did the low milk price do to us? What have we changed? And as Mike mentioned, nothing. Our system runs lean and mean, and we operate quite well at low payout. So that's our answer to volatility. Also with share milkers, our cost of labour automatically adjusts downwards because they're getting a percentage of the milk check, and then as the milk price goes back up again, our labour cost increases in proportion to the milk price rise. So that's a big difference to having someone on a salary where they get paid exactly the same, whatever the weather or the payout. Downturns. This is our 4th major downturn since we bought our first block of land. Now, we didn't like the first one at all, so we did something about it. So if you keep on doing what you've always done, you're going to keep on getting what you've always got. And so the time to change to a more profitable system actually is when payouts are high. But invariably, this is when people are all migrating the wrong way. The best time to prepare for the next downturn payouts are high is with that high payout. But at that stage, people are looking for the next payout that's going to be even higher. So that's, I guess, a testament to human nature as much as anything. Long-term plans, exceptionally important. We run big businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses, and too often there's short-term knee-jerk reactions. So let's make sure we have those long-term plans in place, but it doesn't mean we can't be flexible. So a long-term plan looks through the highs and the lows. It just needs a lot of discipline sometimes to actually stick with it. So capturing the profit. So when we have these high payouts or high milk prices, let's have that discipline. And so what our general plan is most of the time when there is a high payout, 1/3 extra into debt repayment, 1/3 into a cash fund that's put away, and we bring forward any repairs and maintenance spending that needs to be done, which is exactly what we did 3 years ago. We got stuck in and upgraded the maintenance on all our farmhouses, and now, just as an example, payouts down again, so all our infrastructure's up to scratch, so nothing needs to be doing. So, ongoing education. There's actually a huge amount we can all learn through both high and low milk prices. So having that plan, especially on high milk prices, don't let that cash slip through your fingers. Just use it to strengthen your business. It's really noticeable. The most wastage occurs when we have a high milk price. It's exactly the same as having a really good grass growing season. You see the most amount of pasture get wasted when we're growing the most grass. And it's exactly the same. We see so much wastage with money when the milk prices are high. On low milk prices, real simple, don't panic. As long as you've got your plan, stick to your plan, do the basics, do them well. It doesn't need to cost a lot of money at all to make sure you're getting your pasture residuals right every day. Do all the little things. Learn to make sure your budgets are working. Look at your budgets, revise them if you have to. Are we using the right genetics? Have we got the soil fertility right? All those little things, they all add up to help us get through. And relationships. So some of the responses to the low New Zealand milk price recently, they took many forms really, but right from the knee-jerk, irrational, panic, right through to the people who just take the ups and downs in the stride. So these people generally do their own budgets. They regularly monitor them, and we've heard from previous speakers both today and yesterday, you need to own your budget. You need to be able to answer all the questions if a bank is asking you what this expense means. So these people who do their own budgets have very, very quickly understood the implications of low milk prices and were able to act early, make decisions, get advice, and they're also able to talk to all the financial stakeholders who are involved with their business, just keeping everyone informed. So that doesn't necessarily mean just bankers. That might be family who are involved directly or indirectly in your business. So let's keep everyone up to speed, and it helps spread the load. Very good for stress management as well. So let's just keep everyone in the loop. But you can't keep everyone in the loop if you don't know what your own position is to start with. Financial awareness. So during the low milk prices, actually cost control happens really easily because there's no money to spend. However, during the high milk prices, we work doubly hard to make sure that costs don't escalate so that we can pocket the maximum cash profit, i.e. that's the highest margin between the cost of production and income. So often we see system changes which actually ramp up per cow production, but they're unsustainable at the lower milk prices. And unnecessary spending occurs simply because you can. But that is really failing to stick to a long-term business plan. So the best time to scrutinise that budget is at high milk prices because you've just got many more options you can choose from. So what financial changes have we seen happen in New Zealand? Generally, farmers have been very well supported by the main four Australian banks that hold most of the farming mortgages. For, I guess, that 70% group of farmers who are making a loss, principal repayments have stopped. Overdrafts have been able to be capitalised, added to the long-term mortgage and put back to zero again. And then they ramp them up again, and then the same thing happens again, but that can only happen for so long. Overdraft levels have actually been increased as well. But so at this stage here, banks are supporting farmers. Incredibly, we've actually seen land prices hold up at this stage, but that's more driven by the very low interest rates. And people with little debt have been actually snapping up any land that's on the market and actually competing with each other as well. So the banks aren't too worried about that at all because it's actually keeping their security up as it's keeping land prices up. The first low milk price we had a couple of years ago was actually masked by the high milk price the year before. And so there's a huge number of people actually made a loss that year but didn't know it because of the cash that flowed through from the previous year. So this is really our second year of low milk prices. And if we have another one, this third year, I think that's when we're really going to start to see some changes. But there are a lot of people with not too much debt as well, but how much longer do they want to keep burning up the equity? The banks are going to be quite happy for a little while longer, for those people at least, to keep loaning them some money. But eventually it's going to come to a standstill. So the answer is, I think Michael mentioned, that there has to be some system changes. But once again, that in itself is going to bring problems. We're actually going to run out of people who actually know how to run good grass-based systems. Maybe the older generation who grew up doing that and know that, they've moved up a bit and they're not going to go back milking cows and walking farms with plate meters. And there's a lot of the younger generation know no different now. all they know is dragging the Keenan silage wagons around and filling up feed bins, etc. So we're actually going to have a little bit of a problem with system changes as well. So watch this space, I guess, and we'll wait and see what happens. Thank you.